Did you know that 90% of business owners do not have a written marketing plan? As women of faith in business, scripture instructs us to write the vision and make it plain. So I'm giving you an invitation to write your marketing plan and make it plain by discovering two powerful ways to successfully plan your marketing so you can attract your ideal clients and prosper in your God given purpose. Go to nadinemullings.com/power. That's nadinemullings.com/power to get started on your marketing plan so you can start attracting your ideal clients in the marketplace. Welcome to the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nadine Mullings. I'm an author, speaker, and podcast host, and I believe in the importance of women of faith stepping up, shining in their lane, and sharing their God given message so they can have the impact, income, and influence they were born to make. Join me this season to discover how women of faith in business are using podcasts as their platform to share their mission driven message. And be sure to join the Women Faith Plus Business community by going to nadinemullings.com/community. That's nadinemullings.com/community. See you in the powerful community of women of faith in business, and enjoy this episode of the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. I'm super excited to have my next guest with me because this is someone I've known for a while and someone I know in person. It's funny because nowadays a lot of the interviews I do is all like virtual connections and people that I haven't met in person. But Alicia, I know we actually go to the same church, or we went to the same church when I was in Atlanta. So I'm excited to have her as a guest today. It's Alicia Shelly, and she is the host of Back on Track, Achieving Healthy Weight Loss podcast. So I'll share a little background information on Alicia. She is since 2014, Dr. Shelly has been practicing primary care and obesity medicine. In 2019, she became a diplomat of the American Board of Obesity Medicine. Her clinical interests include obesity medicine, diabetes, and hypertension. And in 2020, she joined WellStar Centers of Best Health in Douglasville, Georgia. Dr. Shelly is the creator and host of the weekly podcast and YouTube channel Back on Track, Achieving Healthy Weight Loss, where she shares strategies to help individuals begin and maintain their weight loss journeys. That's exactly why we have her on the podcast as a podcast host. In addition, Dr. Shelly has been featured in prominent media outlets, including CNN, CNN International, Fox 5 News, Shape.com, and in 2021, she was recognized as an honoree of the Atlanta Business Chronicle's 40 Under 40 Award. That is awesome. And she also is a contributing author to Made for More, physician entrepreneurs who live life and practice medicine on their own terms, and The Gift of Pain. Welcome to the podcast, Alicia.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, as you know, this season we're talking about women of faith in business who are podcast hosts. And usually, people may have a desire to start a podcast. They may think about doing a podcast, but not everyone takes that step, right? Not everyone actually hits record and gets their podcast out there. So I first wanted to start by saying, how long have you been podcasting? What has your podcast journey been like? And when did you start?
So I started in 2021 after the pandemic. So when the pandemic happened in 2020, being a physician, it was a lot. Even though I'm primary
Mm,
care, I'm outpatient, not knowing, like we've had like different little small pandemics. We had Ebola scare, we had I forgot Zika virus. So there's like all these little things
Mm-hmm.
we had to, gear up, make sure we knew what's the proper. But this COVID was something we've not experienced in our lifetime, and really
Exactly.
not since the influenza virus came about. And so, being in this time, yeah, it was scary time for all of us.
Yeah.
And I left 2020 being very burnt out because it's stressful on me seeing patients and then having patients that don't believe what you're telling them.
Mm,
It's so stressful. I think I had prescribed. I had a patient that came to me and we were talking
mm,
about something else, and he asked me, "Do I prescribe medication for COVID or
mm.
medication that was not FDA approved for COVID at the time?" I'm like, "No, I don't, because we don't have the literature." And he's like, "Well, shame on you." And people have all these different alternative beliefs, and you're
Yes.
like, "Wow, really?" First
Yeah.
of all, have to go by a certain standard. So I can't take what your mama's doing or whatnot. I got to go with what, clinical trials at this time and what
Right.
data we have at this time. And, that particular medication he was referring to was not it. But that was
Mm,
the interactions we were having. So it was quite stressful. And so when I started, got burnt out, and I was like, you know what? I need to find my inner peace. Like, where I need to get back to what my purpose is. And
yeah.
realized that I wanted to be able to share about
Mm,
and to help people who were going through their weight journey, to encourage
yeah.
them on their way, to be like, hey, listen, you can do it. There are
Hmm.
times when you get off track. Life is lifing and can be messy, but you
You're
can
right.
still be healthy, and let's find ways to get on track. And so that's why I started the podcast, as a way to get my message out there,
Yep.
and to help me with my burnout. And so I said
Mm,
in July of 2021, I do want to agree with you that it is a big step to to
hmm,
start a podcast. Like, it is
hmm.
not easy. I did different courses. I was like
Yeah.
books. Like, how do you start this thing? And even I had all these tools to get started, and
Yeah.
still that imposter syndrome. Well, no one wants to hear what I have to say. Oh my goodness, what am
Hmm.
I doing? It gets in your head. And so I like would push back the start date. And then I was like, I got 2 or 3 episodes recorded. And I'm like, you know what?
Mm,
July 2021, this is going to be the date.
yeah.
So that's when I got started. And it definitely is a big, but I'll be honest, and we'll probably get more into it, but it has been so beneficial, and it's opened so many different doors for me, more, and I've been able to reach more people than
Yep.
just my patient panel that I see on a daily basis. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Well, first of all, I have to say you're not the first person that's mentioned 2020. It's like 2020 has been that pivotal thing in our lives where things just shifted for so many people. And the ripple effect from that shift has caused, businesses, podcasts, books, just different things birthed from that period. So it's no surprise that you mentioned 2020 in your, background of starting your podcast and officially starting it July 2021. And I also love how you leaned into stepping into your purpose and like really doing what you're put here to do and helping people with weight loss and needing a platform to reach more people with your purpose driven work, with that purpose driven work. So I love that that was a part of your story of starting the podcast. So you officially started in July 2021. You hit that publish button, got those 3 episodes out. What was your vision for the podcast? As you put the podcast out there, did you have a vision of what you wanted to do? I know you wanted to spread your message, but what was the additional things? I know maybe the inspiration initially from starting the podcast and the vision that you had for moving forward with the podcast.
So I didn't have much like business background. Still don't. And so my vision was, at least at that time, was to kind of work after I, send out the podcast, press play. My
Mm,
goal was to do more, like get, people's emails, start an email list, start a news,
mm.
and then I was going to start a course that I can be able to help
Ah,
people directly.
okay.
And
Hmm.
so I did and easily realize that starting a course was not my calling.
I love that. Yes.
It's not for me. I just like I love I was just so draining for me.
Yes.
I ended up actually coaching one person one on one, and it
Yeah.
just drained me. And I realized that this was not my calling. Um,
Right.
Probably still have a very lackluster email list that I need to work on. But
Mm.
other than that, I realized, especially I started doing what was it? I did a little course in January. So 6 months
Hmm.
later, I started the course. But
Okay.
then 6 months later, I
Hmm.
applied to be a speaker. And
Okay.
so I applied to be a speaker at a local conference and got accepted. And when
Okay.
I got on that stage, that opened up that, oh, this is my calling here, the
I
speaking.
love it.
So the
Yeah.
podcast actually prepared me for what my second calling was. And
Yeah.
so had I not stepped into it, I'd just be seeing patients, going home, doing my own thing. I would not have been able to be in this place because of the podcast. Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. So many good points about that. I think the first point is always taking steps and action. If we get clarity from action, sometimes we can be in our head, like you said, taking the courses, doing all the things. How do I launch this podcast? And that's when we get stuck, especially for listeners. You get stuck in the whole, what do I need to do to get it done? Da, da, da. But it's the action, and in the action and then doing the steps, then you start to realize and you start to get clarity. And for Alicia, as you said, your clarity was courses are not your calling, right? Initially, you thought, okay, let's start this podcast and do this course. And I love what you said about, when you started to doing the course and just working with one person one on one, it drained you, right?
Mhm.
So it drained you to the point where you're like, okay, this isn't for me. But God opens up doors and opens up opportunities. And when you start again in action doing those other things, then you realize, oh my gosh, this actually sparks some joy in me, right? This is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. So paying attention to those context clues as you move forward, like, okay, is this actually helping? Is this, or does joy, and really moving in that direction based on how you're feeling about the activities that you're taking and the steps that you're taking. I love that so much. So tell us a little bit more about your actual podcast, Back on
Mhm.
Track, Achieving Healthy Weight Loss. What are some of the things that you talk about and some of the key things that you really want listeners to take away from the podcast?
Yeah. So, it's interestingly enough that obesity field has really evolved since when I started in
Hmm.
2020. Because
Yeah.
when I started in 2021, we had medications, but they weren't quite as effective. And so a lot of times
Mm,
people doing a lot of, well, they still do, yeah, a lot of yo-yo diet. They'll get on the medication, get off, get on the medication, get off, and not really see the change. And so,
mm,
and I forgot to kind of mention this, but in my personal life, I actually do struggle with obesity. And I
hmm.
noticed the change. Even I actually underwent bariatric surgery in 2015. And so I got down to a
Okay.
normal weight, and then all of a sudden life
Hmm.
got stressful. My weight went back up, and then
Right.
20 hit, and I was like, oh, we got to get back down. And so
Yep.
it kind
Yep.
of was like this roller coaster with weight. And
Yep.
I wanted to kind of speak to that person who may be at that pivotal point where maybe their weight started coming back up again and they're discouraged. And
Mm,
that's how I felt. I
mm,
felt not only discouraged, I felt shameful. I'm like, I'm a whole
mm,
doctor and I still can't get it together. And
mm.
and I realized there are people that are feeling the same way, but they
Yeah.
need to know that this is the way the body works, the part of life. When we lose
Mm,
weight, sometimes it will metabolically adapt to actually
mm,
increase our hunger hormone and then also decrease our metabolism to make it easier for us to gain
mm.
weight. Your body wants to be higher.
Yeah.
And so if I could just tell somebody that, guess what? Your weight gain is not your fault. And here are some ways we can
Mm,
improve it. That was the goal. And since that
yeah.
time, that was why I started it. Since that time, I we focused on all the different things that are out there now because there's
Mm,
so much that sometimes,
mm, mm-hmm.
is this the good or this bad? So I have my patients that
Yeah.
be like, have you heard about this diet? What do you think about this? And I'm looking it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, here's the thing. So I want to
Yeah.
be that source of evidence-based medicine. So to be
Yep.
able to help listeners get, what should they do, what should they not do. And so, especially with all the different medications that have come out, and the medications that will be coming out in the next couple of years.
Mm,
They were making a lot of headway, and not just for treating
okay.
obesity, but treating a lot of metabolic conditions that are going to be coming out. And so it's important that listeners have that knowledge and be able to make informed decisions, because there's so much
Yeah.
out, so much,
Yeah.
and some of
Yeah.
it's.
And I agree with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with you because I feel like even just lately in the last year or two, so many, and it feels like celebrities have lost so much drastic weight easily because of these medications that are out there. So to have a platform and ability to really share about these medications and, the long-term effects of things and what it does to your body, to be able to share at that level with individuals, I think is important, especially in this time that we're living in right now. So a lot of times weight gain is not just about, the food that you're eating, but there's an emotional side to it too. So how do you address like the mindset or the mind? Because a lot of times people can push medication, right? Take this pill or this injection or whatever, and you lose 10, 20, whatever. But then mentally they haven't done the inner work, right? So how do you or what do you talk about on your podcast on that inner work and that mindset piece when it comes to weight loss?
I've definitely had people who specialize in that area. Not just like coaches, but people who actually are like psychologists,
Mm,
who have come on, and we've been able to interview them and kind of talk more about that mindset piece on what it is
yeah.
that they need to do. Because you're absolutely right, definitely mindset plays a role. And I will say, when it comes to weight loss, it's not just eating less and moving more. There's more to it.
Mm,
Always have to kind of address that anxiety, depression, overwhelm, stress, because those are
mm-hmm.
the things that kind of stop you from moving forward. And so, how I like to talk about it, I do have like experts in the field that come in and kind of give us
Mm-hmm.
tools and things that we can use to kind of help with the mindset, and having a better mindset, especially when it comes
Yeah.
around weight loss and moving forward. I've had several people come on and talk about like all or nothing, where I
Mm,
have to be all on or nothing at all. And
mm,
that's a detrimental mindset, because when
yeah.
you're nothing at all, you are tearing yourself down. You're like, oh, I should be doing better, da da da. And when you're on, it's great because you're seeing progress. But that nothing part is what really kind of tears you down and kind of sets you back. And so
Mm,
had a guest come on and kind of discuss that, an expert come on and kind of discuss that. So my goal is to give evidence based, not just myself talking, but also people who are who do this field, to kind of talk about
yeah.
the mindset piece. And kind of I like to hit on multiple areas, so not just about medications. People talk about diets, children obesity. I've had a couple of people come on and talk about, what to do for your kids, because sometimes
Yeah.
the last thing we want, especially when it comes to children, is to make them more aware or more fearful about their weight, um,
Yep.
or having some type of issue with their weight because of how we, approach it.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh,
And that impacts them throughout their life. You hear people say, "Oh, my mother said I was fat," and that carried me throughout my life, and now, this is how. So it can be very detrimental to have those thoughts and ways that people talk to you at such a young age. So I think that's important to really talk about that. So that's good. So as a woman of faith, how do you feel your faith has played a role in your podcast journey? Tell us a little bit about, or if it has at all, played a role in your podcast journey, being a woman of faith.
Well, the one thing I would say, as a woman of faith, you realize that God has a purpose for you. You may not know
Mm.
exactly what it is. He doesn't spell it out. I was telling somebody the other day, he doesn't like part the Red Sea and you're like, okay, let me walk in it. It's very
Yeah.
subtle. It's
Yes.
all leanings. And you can
Yes.
figure it out. Does the door open? Does the door close? Where do you want me to go, God? And so,
Yeah.
with the me deciding to do the podcast, it wasn't something that was overnight. This was something that took several months to cultivate and be like, I really need something where I can put this out. How could I do this? And
Mm.
exposed to different things, as far as people doing podcasts. I
Mm-hmm.
can't quite remember exactly who put it in my mind, but I remember
Mm.
listening to a podcast and them talking about it. And I'm like, well, this may be a good thing. So some
Right.
women of faith being willing to be open to listening to different things, different podcasts, or just even just YouTube videos or things of that nature that
Mm-hmm.
may be able to expose you to something you're not aware of. Because I wasn't really into podcasts before I decided to do a
Mm-hmm.
podcast, and
Yeah.
so. But I think I was part of this physicians group where they were talking about businesses, and
Mm.
having a podcast was a business, a type of business. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's when I got the idea of it. But I think it's, as a woman of faith, it's important to kind of allow the Lord to lead you and guide you in that step. Even now, when I look back at all the things I've done, it just is mind blowing to me, because I see my panel when I was doing primary care was 1,700 people, 17
Mm.
people. I've had, well, how many have I had? I can't remember how many people I've had on my downloads, but I've had more than 1,700 people on my
Exactly.
downloads at this point. It led me into doing a TED Talk. Over
Yep.
40,000 people have seen that TED.
Amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
and I forget. And then, also on top of that, we mentioned I did an interview on CNN, and
Mm-hmm.
more than millions of people have been able to hear this message
Yeah.
that it's not your fault, and moving forward there. And so that started from God leading you, right? Leading
Yeah.
to God's path. And so
Yeah.
the listeners who are here and you're on the fence, you're wondering, should I do this? Should I not? Allow God to lead you. Listen to that still small voice, because it's
Yeah.
not going to be a whole, crossing of the Red Sea. But if God is
Mm.
leading you to this direction, walk in it. Take that faith to take that step, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's uncomfortable. There are
Yes.
times it is uncomfortable. You are nervous.
Yep.
Your stomach is doing flips. you know, but you keep walking anyway, and the Lord will bless. The Lord will
Yeah.
bless you. You will be surprised the things you do. And what you
Exactly.
accomplish if you just walk in there, you just continue to say yes to God and move
Mm-hmm.
forward. He's not going to direct you in the wrong path. So
Yeah.
definitely say yes, take that first step, and let the Lord lead you, because you'll be surprised at the impact. And how long have I been doing this? What, it's 2025, so it's been 4 years. It's not
Right.
even been, I haven't, I'm like still a baby.
Mm. Right, right.
A
Well,
baby.
actually, they say some people start podcasts and don't get past 6 months or 10 episodes or something. There's some large statistic like that. So you're actually quite mature in the
Yeah,
podcasting phase, because a lot of people quit. Let's put that out there too.
that's true. That is true. That is true. You're right. Maybe I'm a little bit, as an entrepreneur, I feel a little bit young. But yes, as
Yeah.
a podcast host, I am probably older.
Yes, yes,
Gray hair.
definitely. Exactly. I love it. I love it. So, what would you say would be the one word, one phrase, or maybe just a thought that you would like your listeners to take away from listening to your podcast? So, whether they listen to one episode, whether they binged an entire season or a series of episodes, what would be that one word, one phrase, or one thought that you would love for them to take away from Back on Track Achieving Healthy Weight Loss podcast?
So the one word that comes to mind is being encouraged. So I do it in the past tense, because hopefully by listening to that, you're encouraged in wherever you are in your journey. Whether you
Yeah,
kind of slid back and you need to get back on track, or you've been going strong and you just need, something to kind of keep you motivated. I would say encouragement would be the one word I would want my listeners to leave with. Um,
yeah.
because I talk about a whole lot of things, but I find
Hmm.
that if you are encouraged to keep going, then I've done my job. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, it's a roller coaster. So you may be at an up moment where you're at peak when it comes to your weight loss, or you may be at a down moment. But be encouraged. That is really the message that you want the audience to walk away from the podcast. And what is the best way for people to listen to the podcast? I know you're on different platforms. What is the best way for them to actually tune in?
Absolutely. Go to wherever you listen to your podcast. I would say Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all the things, and just search Back on Track, Achieving Healthy Weight Loss. I'm sure I'll pop up because clearly I'm an old person in this game. So
Right?
maybe it should pop up. Sometimes I'll Google it just to see.
Yes.
But yeah, it should pop up, and definitely feel free to find a episode that just kind of touches to where you are and just ministers to you, and feel free to listen on. So I
Yeah.
hope you enjoy.
Exactly. So definitely check her podcast out on all the different various podcast platforms. And what is the best way for people to connect with you if maybe they want more of that one-on-one or more of a conversation with you about their weight loss journey? How can they connect with you and how you help your patients?
Yeah, if you are in the Atlanta area, please check me out. I have my office at the WellStar Centers of Best Health in Douglasville, Georgia. Be happy to see you. And we're now doing full-time obesity medicine there. But if you are elsewhere, please feel free to contact me on social media at Dr. Shelly MD. You can find that on my YouTube channel where I do like little videos as well about my the subjects of the day, and then also at Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. We have like little videos there, so just check us out.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So definitely connect with Dr. Alicia Shelly in all those various platforms. Thank you so much for being on the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. Did you know that 90% of business owners do not have a written marketing plan? As women of faith in business, scripture instructs us to write the vision and make it plain. So I'm giving you an invitation to write your marketing plan and make it plain by discovering 2 powerful ways to successfully plan your marketing so you can attract your ideal clients and prosper in your God-given purpose. Go to nadinemullings.com/power. That's nadinemullings.com/power to get started on your marketing plan so you can start attracting your ideal clients in the marketplace. Thank you for listening to the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. I hope this episode has been insightful and inspiring and has offered you an opportunity to take action to transform your life and your business. Wherever you are listening, be sure to rate and review the podcast and also subscribe to get the next episode right in your inbox by going to womenfaithandbusiness.com to join our email list.